the ball. They're formative aspects.
Ang video na to ay handog ni cdkoffers.com. Marami kang mahahanap na iba't ibang uri ng software dito. May games, apps, activation codes for Windows 10. Check out our video on CDK offers in the video description. Mabilis, mura, and syempre legit dito. Madali lang mag-order, search for the software you need, add to cart, check out, daan ka sa payment options nila, wala pa isang minuto, finished. May legit working CDK ka na sa software na pinili mo. Gamitin ang aming promo code para makakuha pa ng extra 20% discount sa purchase mo. Kung naghahanap ka ng mura, legit, and original software, check out cdkoffers.com.
So you're live and I'm live. All right, wait.
Yeah.
All right,
so the thing is,
wait now. I gotta do my
no,
spiel, man.
I
gotta go.
All right.
I gotta do the intro.
All right.
Alright, so what's up, Internet? Thanks for joining us. And so this is Media Diet. We have my good friend Gizmo with us. This is actually not Gizmo's debut, but his debut was really bad last time. Not because of him, but because of internet difficulties. Actually, I did
Damn.
find out what the problem was. Parang my firewall was blocking the firewall thing. So I'm
Classic.
I'm firewall off now. So please and don't.
More stormtroopers.
Sand went janky.
Zay, you got this? Yes, Mom, I've got this.
Is it me? Is it my? Let me run a speed test. Maybe it's me.
Hey, more guys.
Oh man. Now my speed is fine. Can you hear me? I can't hear you.
Is that detonator set? It will be in a second. Okay, I'll let you.
Hello? Dude, I can't hear you.
Heads up, more of them. Detonator 2 is armed and ready.
Yeah, like 0. Oh, there you go. Ooh. It's just buzzing real loud. Yeah, man.
How's it? Still working on it.
See, there's always something that goes
How
on.
fiery are your firewalls, man?
Kasi with the RTX, okay, we should be good now.
Oh, yeah.
The RTX AI thingy, but
Okay.
apparently that wasn't so good. Let me ask chat if that's better. Since I turned off na. Although parang the video is still laggy. But you can hear me okay na?
Yeah, the sound's sort of good. Yeah.
You can hear, you can't, ano pa rin? You can't hear the fan in the background?
Hello?
No?
No, there.
Ah.
No, I can't, but I can hear like a low-grade buzzing. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the fan. Fine, I'll go without the fan. Now it's hot. Thanks, guys. Alright, so parang okay naman yung internet ngayon. Just some issues with the. I think it's my PC actually. My PC can't handle streaming the video, the game clip, and the RTX noise filtering. So that's one thing. Yeah, the game footage is kind of laggy. I wonder if it's just enough. Anyway, so we're just gonna talk about the things we played and read and stuff over the past month.
Can I
And-
try something?
Oh,
Hang on.
the buzzing's still there. I don't hear it on my end.
Yeah, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you naman.
Reinforcements.
No? Yeah?
You're coming in and out. Like,
I can hear you naman.
yeah. Again, it's like what's that old joke? It's like you're reporting live from Kabul or.
You tried to censor that, no? You're trying to come up with a different city name that was like more innocuous.
Fallujah or something.
Okay, hang on, let me try the.
Yeah, no, well, Kabul and Fallujah, I feel like we're enough of.
Go for the shot.
Teka, let me.
Tawi, I don't know.
Parang it's more dangerous if you do a local reference kaysa sa some far off country reference.
Yeah, that's fair.
Wait lang. Where is the Discord thing?
It seems to be alright now.
think my PC.
There,
just-
the.
Yeah.
Let's get those detonators on that generator.
No, wait. No, there it is.
Wait lang, I gotta try something.
You know that sound you make when you press sticky keys?
Yeah, yung beep, 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 beep,
It's
beep.
like a prolonged version of that.
Ito. Is that better?
Yeah.
No, is this better?
No. No. You know, can I try a callback? Man? Let's IT the IT crowd this, man. The IT crowd, you know. Let's try turning it on and off again.
I know, I was about to say, the
Can you
only
try-
solution they have there is, is your PC on? And, try turning it on and off.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the British series.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you tried turning it on and off again?
Sige.
The maker of that series is apparently like terrible human being.
Talaga?
Yeah.
He's not one of the
Apparently.
stars? He's not like the
No,
super
he's not,
quiet
he's
one?
not.
Okay.
No. Richard Ayoade.
Yeah.
I love
yeah.
that guy. That guy's awesome, man. That guy's,
it's not him.
You what? Yeah, it's not him.
Okay. Kasi parang
Yeah.
a lot of the geek favorites lately haven't been doing so well in terms of the interpersonal relations department.
Yeah. Or those in a geek franchise.
Yeah. Actually, I wanted to talk about it nga. We can talk about it like sa the Expanse
Yeah.
later with Alex.
Yeah, I didn't know that, and I didn't know that till I saw the last episode.
And then
And
you
I was
research like,
like-
what
And I researched,
what happened?
what the fuck, right? Like, what the... Like, and then I was like, alright. I'll allow.
You know,
I mean-
I knew it was coming because I heard about it before, but then it was so abrupt and I didn't see the blood trickling out of his nose. So
I did.
I see you saw it while you were watching, so I was like,
Yeah. The moment he didn't respond, like, I was like, holy shit, they stroked out Alex.
but I thought he was like, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna leave them? Because I knew it was coming, but I didn't think it was right then and there. And then, yeah.
My feeling there is... I don't know anything about the books, eh.
I haven't reached that far sa books eh.
Yeah, is Peaches, is the Mao kid, is she...
Did
So
she-
I guess she's the pilot now. She's presumably the pilot.
Isn't the guy from Anders' crew the pilot now? Because he's holding the cup
No,
of
no,
Alex, eh.
I thought about that, but I was like, I don't know. It doesn't seem... There's a certain level of like... him being not as good as her. There's an implication that she's on the race team, eh? Diba? She used to pilot Razorbacks and shit. Like,
That's true. Yeah.
that was... that was... I don't know. We'll see, right? Like, that's a question. But it's... I mean... Long overdue they had another girl, right?
Yeah.
It seems so... Like, I've wanted Frankie Adams on their team, like, forever, but it doesn't seem like she's going to be on it, you know?
Yeah, parang they're always trying to put her apart. I mean, diba, parang she gets on the ship, and then she leaves the ship, and then she has her own
Yeah,
arc,
yeah.
She has her own,
Yeah,
thing going
yeah.
on. Do you still hear the buzzing on my end? From
Yeah, I do.
It's still there? Okay.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I mean, it's steady, eh? The video and the sound is steady, except for that buzzing.
yeah, I changed the...
I feel like I should be decoding it or something, like the tapping.
I really
And
can't
I'm like,
hear.
alright.
Oh, sige, wait, I'm gonna discount
Alright.
you since this is... This show is
Yeah,
all
call me
these-
again.
Yeah. Sige. Alright guys, wait lang, technical difficulties. Yeah, but this is our most relaxed show. We're just gonna talk about like different stuff. Yeah, that we watched, played, or read in the past month or so. Teka, let me try to get Discord back. Because like on my end, I can't hear anything. But maybe this is why you have separate headphones. Because I'm using my Sennheiser headphones. There is a filter already on the mic. I'm using a noise gate and things like that. So I haven't changed the mic settings. which were fine before. Yeah, all the filters are still in place, the noise gate and the compressor. Wait, let's try to get Gizmo back.
Hello?
Is it still there?
Yeah. I am officially resigned. I gotta say this though. The moment he meets up with Gunny, with
Alex.
Bobby, when he
Yeah,
meets
yeah.
up with Bobby, man, she is cold to him. Like their entire previous chemistry is gone, and she is ice cold. And I have a thing for her, so I don't know if that's just me talking or yeah. Also, can I just say I'm so glad they had Cassan. I'm so glad that they had
didn't
West
recast.
Chatham. No, that they had West Chatham get naked. Like I was like, I've had her. All right, here we go. Yeah.
I don't.
And I'll see you in the snow, and I'm like, nice.
In the snow, what's going on? I don't recall this scene.
that scene where he's like, West Chatham, huh?
Yeah,
West
it's-
Chatham?
yeah.
Where they go to that doomsday prepper. And he's like, I don't have any weapons,
okay,
and he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
strip.
strip.
And I'm like,
yeah.
yes, nice. Make that beefcake strip,
Yeah.
strip,
Ano,
strip.
Some gratuitous,
Yeah, some gratuitous
Yeah.
meal. Mm-hmm.
Wait.
I was like, worth it.
okay na lahat.
yeah, like, yeah. But that was like a way more hopeful. Like that again, great season, great season. All things considered. great
Trooper.
season.
Wait lang.
Yeah.
I'm gonna, cause I can't get you back. I can't get you back. So like your video ba? So wait lang. Oh, there you go. Okay. But now your whole face is like the video. So let me fix that.
Yeah. Could you? I feel like I've been working like 14 hours today. I don't think people should be like looking directly into my face.
All right. Okay. It's time to reboot that. So the clip I'm showing now is from Mechwarrior 5. The clips from Battlefield 2, Star Wars, were not working out. I think my PC just couldn't handle the strain of the RTX AI thing in the background and then all the other things. But this is Mechwarrior 5, something else I've been playing with. The show that Gizmo and I were talking about is this one, The Expanse. Although this is an old season 4 poster, it's a great sci-fi series.
Yeah.
I like how we're like 18 minutes into the thing. It's like when we're only doing the preliminaries now. Super. I'm sorry about the audio. I can't seem to get it right.
We should really do prep. Like, we start on time, but also I feel like we're not. Yeah.
How's that? I muted the game clip. No discernible difference.
Who is watching this?
There are 24 people actually.
Can you link me?
I'll send you.
Send me the link.
Yeah. I just go to Hardware Sugar YouTube.
Hardware Sugar YouTube. Alright, hold up.
Yeah, go to YouTube, go to Hardware Sugar, then it's the live stream.
YouTube. I misspelled it. Nice.
But
Alright, I'm just gonna... Damn, that is a good picture.
what are you seeing?
Okay. No. I just, the Expanse picture. Yeah, I should mention, I recently watched the first episode again.
Season 1, Episode 1.
Season 1, Episode 1, to get the feel for it. And I didn't know Jonathan fucking Banks was in it, man. Like, he's... You know who Jonathan Banks is?
No, I'm trying to figure out.
Okay, have you... I never watched Breaking Bad, so he's in
I
Breaking
watched
Bad.
Breaking Bad, yeah.
Okay, he's the old guy in Breaking Bad who's got that gruff voice. He's like,
okay. He's like the sidekick
Yeah.
to the other drug dealer, to the
I guess? I don't know.
to the guy who
I don't know. I don't follow
you don't
fucking
know
Breaking
nothing.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Breaking Bad, I watched the first season. I must have been the only person who it didn't like
Grab
click
you.
for me. I
Yeah,
watched the
yeah.
first season and I was like, I don't want to root for any of these people. I was like, I'm not compelled to root for any of these people. Like, this guy decides to become a meth dealer? It's a super bad choice. Like, super, like, I don't know. I still plan to try and get into it someday, but right now I'm just...
Mahi-
But here's the thing. Jonathan Banks, because of all the shows I love Community. Right? Which is Dan Harmon, which you should watch.
Yeah.
But he joins it in a later season. And it's
Ass.
a comedy. It's like a
Yeah.
full-on weird-ass comedy.
Yeah, yeah.
So to have him in it, it's perfect. Like, he's serious the whole time.
He-
He's like,
He's a straight guy.
yeah, he's the straight man,
Yeah.
He's the, like, not just that, he's like the straight man, the hard-boiled guy. Right?
Yeah.
He says shit like, I watched my third wife die. Like, he says it like
And-
that.
and
Like,
super-
but it's a comedy, you
Yeah.
know? It's like a, they're in the hospital and he's like, I gotta go visit. He's like an ex-cop and he's like, I've seen human skulls used as other things than human skulls should be used for. Something like that. Like, but it's a comedy, and
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
great in it. He's great in it.
That's another thing I wanted. That's on my to watch list that I've never gotten around to. Community.
You should. I mean, like, it's completely out there, and it's not heavy-handed in a lot of ways that a lot of comedies are.
Yung
Um,
you have to be funny kind of thing.
Yeah. It's not. It's just like. There's a part in it where a character says, "This is a shared psychosis." That's what Community is. It's a shared psychosis. It's like a concept that you pitched, that you got it through the door. You said, "Okay, it's gonna be about a boy and a girl who fall in love on an airplane." That's your pitch. But the movie that is made is Airplane.
It's like
It's Airplane. Airplane, the comedy?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's the pitch that that Dan Harmon gave. He's like, it's about a bunch of, ne'er-do-wells, sort of like, not ne'er-do-wells, but like, a quirky bunch of people who go to a community college.
Misfits
Like,
type.
okay,
Yeah.
that's a safe, like,
Pitch.
good pitch,
Yeah.
right? But then it just goes off the rails after
Yeah.
that. It's just like, we're gonna make some weird episode about, like, like, I don't know, like, that. It's hard to really quantify it in that sense, and I love it, even the gas leak here, I guess.
Para sobrang infamous nga yung season na yun. But yun nga, don't spoil it for me. I'll get around to it eventually. It's one of those things, yeah. You
So
always
here's
like,
the thing. Episode 1 of the Expanse has Jonathan Banks in it. He's the XO that, like, loses his mind
Okay.
and Holden replaces.
On the freighter or
On the
that
freighter,
stuff.
the
Yeah.
the Canterbury, right?
Yeah.
The Cant. And the captain is like, it's basically a setup scene where they show Holden being offered responsibility that he doesn't want. That he refuses to take. That he wants to be a nobody.
Yeah.
Right? That's sort of the setup. But it's fucking Jonathan Banks, man. It's like, in the same way that, the guy, I keep forgetting his name, but he's the guy who plays Anderson Dawes,
Yes.
who gave that speech. My sister was touched by the angels.
Was it-
Bones like chalk.
Wasn't
He
he
gave that-
also? Wasn't he also? Ano? Ah no, sorry, I'm thinking of Fred.
He's Fred. Fred sort of replaces him.
Yes, yes.
And they keep mentioning
yeah.
Anderson Dawes.
Yeah.
But they can't. I don't know why they can't bring him back. I
Yeah.
guess they can't afford him.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
he's a really good. It's weird because he's in another Amazon series, or he was in another Amazon series. But he's a really good, like, you know,
Yeah, intense.
theater actor.
Yeah, yeah, kind of.
Intense. Like he gives that speech to Miller, but
Yeah.
it's like this memorable speech of like, you know, rock hoppers, and he has the Belter Creole like down.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
he is, you know, like.
The-
It's a great performance.
The one they should give more screen time to is Kamina. You
Yeah.
just focus the entire episode on Kamina. Let her go nuts.
Yeah.
Let her run after what's the name of
Yeah.
the bad guy? The one who chucks rocks at Earth.
Inaros.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Marco Inaros.
Yeah.
Who's like everything about her is so right. It's so sad. She's like, I'm my own faction.
Yeah, yeah.
Like you know, the White Knight is dead.
How much shit do I need to eat before I get your
Yeah.
respect? God damn it.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's eating shit constantly.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
she voted to let Inaros
Yeah.
live.
Yeah, yeah.
She like everything is just like piling up, and she
Yeah.
just keeps eating shit.
How much? Yeah, I've gone along with you guys. Okay, I voted. Let's go along with him.
Yeah.
We're not gonna be in conflict. Parang ganyan.
Yeah.
But how much shit do I need to eat before I get your respect? It's like, oh god damn it,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah, she's. I gotta say though, that whole episode where they're trying to save Naomi, that was amazing.
Is
That
this the
was
one
just
she's
like-
already on the ship? And then she's trying
Yeah,
to
she's on the ship.
she's trying to
Yeah,
tell them na
yeah, not to come.
yeah.
But the way it's show and tell, like the way it's all tell, you don't know what she's doing, right? You're like, what the fuck
Yeah,
are you
yeah.
doing?
Yeah,
What is
yeah,
your
yeah.
what is your end game? What
Yeah.
is your
Yeah.
And then it keeps happening, it keeps escalating. Diba? It keeps getting like oh fuck, there's like she rebuilds a transceiver and she makes a message, but it doesn't go through.
Yeah.
The message doesn't go through, and then she interrupts the message, and I'm like, man, everything she does is just, that whole episode is just amazing.
Even the
And hats off to Dominic Tipper, man. Like fucking,
even
there's
the,
no.
the last thing she tries to do, na parang she puts the ship in a spin. So parang it's like really
Yeah.
this hardcore physics
Yeah.
thing na
Yeah, you parang, we can't land,
Yeah,
we can't dock
yeah,
with
we
it.
can't dock
If it
because-
does it again, yeah. And then even the thing where she jumps off and she's like,
see me.
Belter siding.
Yeah. Na
Like-
they're danger, don't approach.
Yeah, don't approach. Man, like, and so here's the thing. I'm playing Witcher 3, right? And I keep asking myself, who the fuck is Geralt talking to? You know when he does his autopsies and stuff?
Yeah.
And he's just talking aloud.
Yeah.
He's talking aloud to nobody. Yeah, I'm just like, who the fuck are you talking to, man? Like, oh, slash marks. Like, I don't know.
Definitely
Like,
some
incision.
imp.
Definitely
or ano.
some. I'm like, who are you talking to? Like, it makes sense when he's out in the field and you're tracking something. He's saying it in his head. You don't actually see him say anything, right? But in all the scenes where it's like sort of a cut scene and you're examining a body or something, like who are you talking to? That whole scene with Naomi, you never know what she's doing. She
Yes,
never said
yeah.
like, I just need to do this. She's not talking to herself. She's not like explaining it to the. You have to watch and you're like, oh, fuck, what are you doing? Like, this is such a bad idea. Like, well, we're just like, I don't get why you're going through all this trouble. Like I don't. And then it pans out, man. It works so well.
They don't they don't handhold you. They're not like
Yeah,
okay,
man,
this is
yeah.
what parang and like you could compare it to Star Trek. If Star Trek did something like that, there would be immediate like technobabble, but the technobabble is you're just gonna fix something and everything will be okay kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
It's like you gotta
Yeah.
wedge up something from the ship, so you gotta use a makeshift lever or makeshift pulley and things like that.
Yeah,
and then
yeah, and then
she's
just-
had no water, no food.
yeah. Just drinking the ice, right? Like those little things. That, like, I remember the first episode of Expanse is Julie Mao opens a bag of water,
And it kind of
and then
floats.
she only it floats, and there's only like 2 beads of water left, and then she drinks it. Like, sort of, it doesn't tell. I mean, it does tell you in the beginning. There's like a opening marquee of like what the world is like. Water and air are so important, right? And I'm thinking, you know what? You know, the year that the Expanse came out. Do you remember what else came out that year?
Like 3 or 4 years ago. What, sci-fi or
Yeah, dude, longer now, man. It's been not 3 or
season
4.
5? Oh, season 5 na pala to.
Yeah, this is season 5, and add a year to it a bit, right? Like where they were kind of in limbo or something.
Yeah.
But
But before they got picked up by Bezos.
Yeah, let's call it 6, right? 6 years, right? You know what came out that I also tried, and I dropped in favor of. So there were 3 shows that came out. 1, Expanse. 2, Killjoys.
Yeah, you mentioned before.
Which,
Oh,
yeah, which I got behind, which was fun.
Yeah.
Killjoys was fun. No one else. But the 3rd was Dark Matter.
I haven't heard.
That was interesting. It was just a terrible pilot. It's a great pitch.
Are these the?
Right.
Is this the ones that apparently they have amnesia? They don't remember.
Yeah, they all
Okay,
wake up from
yeah.
hyperspace.
And
on
then
a
they're
ship.
like,
Yeah, they all wake up from hyperspace. They're on a ship, and they're like, "What the fuck?"
we don't know what's
I
going
don't
on.
remember anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so it's kind of like a shitty first ep, but it's a great end. The last end is they find out who they are. They find their files,
Okay.
and they're all like super criminals. They're all like the most wanted, basically. They're the most wanted people in the galaxy. Like that's the end of the first half. But
that's,
I
the
don't know.
first, that's the first ano pala.
Yeah. So they wake up. The concept is they wake up in amnesia with amnesia. Their ship is like I forget. It's crashing or something, or falling into a black hole, or some cosmic anomaly, and they work to figure out who they are and save the ship. And then in the end, they do. And then they activate like the onboard computer, human android, whatever. And they're like, "Hey, can you like open our files?" And she's like, yes, I can." So she opens it, and they're like, you know, Boba Fett wanted in 10 systems for like mass murder, and
Maybe
then
we
next
didn't need to
person
know
like
these things
they're
about
like, "Whoa,
ourselves."
fuck!" Like, oh yeah, like gun running and like slavery and shit. You're like, "Whoa, shit!" You know, like it was a pretty good pilot, but I mean that last scene was good, but the rest of it kind of forgettable, I would say. Forgettable. Sayang.
I met someone last week who actually brought up Jujutsu Kaisen. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
I've heard about that.
Jujutsu Kaisen,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
man. That's also been a series this season that has more often, I would say, 80% of the time delivered great great final like closing. Basically, it makes you want to watch the next step.
But it's over na, di ba? Sabi mo?
No.
It's
I
not.
thought it was.
Oh.
I thought it was, but it's a mid-season.
Break.
So most anime now, they don't run like Naruto or One Piece, which is just like endlessly.
Tuloy-tuloy.
They do 26 eps.
Okay.
They do like an average. That's a rough average, 26 eps. So every 13 eps, they sort of go on a short break, like a month or 2 months. I think Jujutsu Kaisen just did a month. And then they come back with a new opening song.
Change it up a bit.
Yeah, change it up a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen, And Dorohedoro and
On
Kimetsu no Yaiba.
On Netflix, diba? Sabi mo? The Jujutsu.
Yeah, Dorohedoro. I'm sure Netflix will get it. But between that, like that concept, right? The anime and manga goes through phases, right? It's popular. What's big? Witches are big now. Alchemy's big now. Magic's big now. Sword and Sandals big. Concepts like Naruto and Bleach. Those were big at the same time. Kind of similar, relatively similar concepts. Hidden worlds, powerful techniques. You know, very very shonen stuff. But the trend now for me, sort of, is when you look up Kimetsu no Yaiba and Jujutsu Kaisen and Dorohedoro, it's sort of like horror comedies. Like, it's a really weird combination, you know. Like, they're horror stories, but
with
comedy.
But yeah,
There's
funny.
a comedic. There are comedic moments. They don't overlap necessarily. Okay, which is good because obviously that would ruin the horror, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But you're constant. It's sort of like, in comparison to Attack on Titan. Attack on Titan is a horror story. Like, in a lot of ways, right? It's a horror story. It's like a really, really long episode of Aliens. Aliens 2. Aliens
Yeah.
with an S.
Yeah. The
Where the Marines have the weapons and tools to fight the aliens. They're equipped to do it, but they're greatly outmatched by them. So it's sort of like that, sort of horror concept where they have the tools to beat Titans, to kill Titans, but are outnumbered and outclassed by the sheer horror of Titans.
So that's why you have every Bill Paxton moment, like every other episode or so.
Yeah, every other
diba,
episode,
like,
someone's like,
"Oh shit,
game over, man!"
Yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah. Rest in power, man. But okay, so that Attack on Titan never devolved into comedy.
It's kind of dark for that.
It's
I mean,
dark forever.
Yeah.
Okay,
There's no
it's
let
like
up.
it never lets up. Exactly. In a lot of ways, also, the first season of Terraform Mars is like.
Even
Did
season
you see
2.
the first?
No.
Season 2 also is pretty bad.
Yeah,
but because of the art and tone change, it's a little bit more forgiving. The first season of Terraform Mars is just like, fuck.
Yeah.
Right? Like you're constantly like, it's like Attack on Titan. It's like more relentless than Attack on Titan in that sense, because there's a finite number of them.
Yeah.
They tell you this is our crew of 100, and then they like start killing them.
Yeah,
You're like,
they're getting picked
what
off.
the fuck?
Yeah.
You know, you're like, you gotta kind of like
-1,
adjust your
-1.
yeah. You kind of adjust your expectations constantly, right? Like you're constantly squeezing the bag, right? You're constantly squeezing the bag, trying to get the toothpaste out. That's what it feels like. But season 2 kind of lets up on that a little bit. It's like less the stress is not as heavy. I feel they don't lose people as fast. Okay.
The one I meant was like, oh yeah, I watched Jujutsu Kaisen. I'm like, okay, so baka... I mean, basta it's from you, I always just think it's an obscure anime, except for Attack on Titan. But so I was like, oh, okay. So I'm like, I had the same friend. So I was like, the same friend who recommended Jujutsu was like, he recommended Terraform Mars. You know, it's that thing with the cockroaches and they colonize Mars, but they're super smart. And then she just looked at me like, who is this weirdo? And
Terraform Mars is like, yeah.
And I'm like,
Terraform Mars
Keys.
is a little bit out there.
Thanks,
Sorry, man. Sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah,
couldn't offend me like you mentioned borderline na it's kind of edgy na parang you know shit but
it's good, right? Like Terraform Mars is good.
I watched it. Yeah.
I like
yeah.
it's
Those
good.
cockroaches are nightmare-inducing.
Yeah,
Diba?
yeah,
The
right.
way they look at you.
In a
when
word,
they,
I'd equate them to titans, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
In a lot of
exactly, yeah.
ways, they're like titans. They're humanoid.
Yeah.
They're
They-
grotesquely familiar,
Yeah,
right?
but oddly strange at the same time.
Yeah, oddly othered and
Yeah.
just like they're hyper violent and remorseless.
You
like
can't
they're
reason
not.
with them. Yeah.
You can't reason exactly.
Yeah.
That's the fear. Right? You can't reason with them. But I feel like I've talked about this in sci-fi before, where people always say a country's science fiction is a classic example of what that country or culture fears, where the sheer amount of aliens, aggressive aliens, and robots that the Americans have fought tells them they're afraid of, quite literally, aliens and machines that will, take their jobs and take their lives. Like it's not, but that's completely absent. Specifically, machines is a fear that's completely absent from a lot of Japanese sci-fi, right? It's always like giant robots and
cool.
Ghost in the Shell.
Yeah.
Ghost in the Shell. It's like a great Ghost in the Shell is like they completely embrace being mechanized and having robot like computer brains, and then they question their humanity as a result of it. But it doesn't. It's not sort of the horror of the world.
Yeah.
It's sort of a coping. But if you watch the fear of Attack on Titan, for example, or Terraform Mars, it's the complete breakdown of society. That's what the Japanese seem to fear, right? That the horror to them is the inability to, sort of the breakdown of society, where the Titans aren't the scary thing; it's humans that are scary.
Yeah.
When they've completely
Every man for himself. No one.
yeah, when they start to think like that.
Yeah.
They start to think like that. And there's actually a great story in I
Especially when
mentioned
they're trying to get through the gates. Diba? It's
Yeah,
always like they have
yeah.
to get to the next barrier, and it's always like, oh,
Yeah,
damn,
yeah.
the refugees, and we can't feed them, and we should just
yeah,
close the
yeah,
gates.
that
and,
concept of the breakdown of society, right? It's like it's very apparent in that. There's also a series called Tokyo 2020. It's a little bit like that.
Yes, it's like a big earthquake. Parang on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on Netflix and it's an anime, and I watched the first episode and it's sort of the setup. It's a great setup, but that's still the concept of the world, Japan is sinking.
Yeah.
And it is sort of every man for himself, but also this is the Japanese society. This is the size of society that after the earthquake, they bought bicycles and they biked home. They in an orderly fashion.
Yeah, in
They
an
walked
orderly,
home in an orderly fashion.
No riots,
They-
no
riots, no looting, no.
Yeah.
There's that concept of I'm the hero. It's a zombie apocalypse in Japan, right? And life goes on. People are trying to get to work on time. They don't loot the 7-Elevens, they leave money on the counter. There's no one there.
Yeah.
But when they take something from 7, they leave money on the counter.
Yeah.
Like that concept of even in the worst possible fucking scenarios, the Japanese will try to maintain society. That's how they're built and raised and
This is how civilized people do it.
yeah. There's a very interesting so this we talked about Ken Liu last
Yeah.
stream, and in his book Paper Menagerie, he has a story with a Japanese protagonist who talks about playing Go, right? And he said, so he's talking to someone, an American, and the American asks, so it's like chess, right? And he says, no, in chess there are special pieces and powers, and there is someone to protect. There's a singular person you. In Go, it's about using your numbers. It's about controlling the board and protecting the board and cutting off escape and protecting and working, but every piece is the same.
Yeah, there's no unique piece.
There's no unique piece. There's just strategy, and you work. So they sort of the sort of the oversimplification of this concept is that this is the representative of the Japanese people, right? Like they value society, they value structure and order, and the breakdown of that is their greatest fear, right? Yeah. So like that, like betrayal, like.
Yeah.
Did you ever see Battleship Yamato 20?
I did.
Yeah, you remember this?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So even that was so like that was about like the fate of humanity hung in the balance as Battlestar Galactica style.
Yeah.
But they're still so like nice about it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Even their mutinies, like you know, like
It's just really for
We're gonna-
yeah.
yeah, it's just really because we gotta.
Yeah.
Like that, like even that sort of tells you like, man, these people are mutinying, mutinying, right? Their society in space is falling apart. Their mission is being abandoned, right? They're deciding to do this, or a faction of them is deciding to do this, and they seem so polite about it, right? So rational about it, and, you know. I mean, I really enjoyed that series too.
Parang, there were a lot I think we talked about this actually before. Parang for me there were a lot of plot holes na hindi ko masyado magets. Like there are a lot of jumps na I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like the viewer understands that. I mean, because they get to the planet, it's been a while, but they get to the planet, the other planet, and then pala the enemy, the the Gamadas or the G guys.
Gamelans? Yeah.
Are not all bad or some shit.
No, they have a god race. The god race is not all bad.
The god race not all bad.
Wants to protect them, but the god race is like in hibernation.
Really? But there were a lot of story beats that were really confusing for me. Na parang,
It's not as flawless, but it's also it's a pretty great series in the concept, in a very conceptual sense of like, it's fun to watch, and I love the captain of that series. The captain, like, everything he does.
Who kicks the bucket, right?
Yeah, he kicks the bucket
Yeah.
at the end. He's
Yeah.
the Moses character, right? He's the Rosalind character.
Yeah.
But you see his military know-how, sort of his conceptually, like I remember those battles where he does something. He says, "Okay, we're gonna do this," and it's sort of like a great captain moment where like he gives an order, everyone follows it, everything works out.
Yeah.
Right, like this is how we're gonna win. This is how and they're like outmatched, right? Their ship is outmatched in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And it's a very good ship, but if they're overwhelmed by numbers, they'll lose. And there's a lot of little like tricks that they have to keep pulling. And, a good series. Like I like that captain.
I was thinking kasi more of a global character eh. So parang when I ran into him, that's the mindset I had in mind. But there were a lot of. Then diba parang the love interest is part of the god race? Or she's
She's part of the god race.
Reincarnated version of someone.
Yeah. There's a lot of I again, it's not. I said I liked it. I didn't say it was perfect.
I'm not like piling on your on your choice. It's just like, I'm just like thinking. I'm trying to remember out loud na parang like I remember having a lot of. And I don't know if it's like
it didn't feel clean.
Yeah. I don't know if it was a lost in translation thing because the American or Western stories are all about being tight. Exactly, diba? Parang every detail falls into he dropped the teacup because later on the teacup is whatever, diba? Parang some shit na. And then but I don't
Check
know.
out Scott.
Exactly. That's what was in my mind, but I don't want to get too literary, professor about it. But exactly right. If you got that goddamn gun, that's gotta go off.
The literary department.
That's gotta go off, right?
It was gonna go over. Yeah.
But I don't know if the Japanese storytelling tradition is like that. Na parang they value everything in its place, and no extraneous details and things like that. So I always approach anime with this kind of hesitation. Because I'm not
Yeah.
used to those kind of stories, so baka I'm approaching them a bit differently. But yes, but I had a lot of questions with Battleship Yamato. Wait, sorry. Since we're on books, or we were on books kanina, but we kind of veered off.
Yeah.
I want to talk about the book I'm reading now is Skyfairing. Parang it's non-fic by, he's like a pilot. That's what I lang, sobrang ganda nung language na, the way he talks about flying, the way he talks about the 747, which is his main plane, and
I'd like to read that, Skyfairing.
it's nice. It's super.
Yeah.
It's super laid back lang na. Ang ganda kasi ng language eh. It's the kind of thing you wish your students would have written. Parang ganda ng metaphors, ganda ng imagery. Di ba?
Oh man.
The kind of thing that you're trying to teach them ba na like, oh, to sustained imagery, sustained metaphor, parang ganyan. So it's really, the language is really nice.
Get a hard on for that. That sounds
Di
great.
ba? Yeah, right. So I'm like, damn. What are you reading?
So I am unfortunately reading Ali and Nino.
Why are you bakit may unfortunate preface?
It's well, for one, it was written 1927.
Okay.
So, and the language is very. So I'll give a bit of a background on Ali and Nina first. It's a love story, set in Azerbaijan.
Oh, okay.
How many stories can you say is that? Right?
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck do you know about Azerbaijan?
Yeah.
So it's written by Kurban Said. Ali is a Mohammedan. He's Muslim. Nino is Christian and I guess for all intents and purposes Russian.
Okay.
Okay, Russian. So it's written in 1927 by a Muslim whose main character is Muslim. It's told from his perspective. And while he is young and the setting is interesting, his language is very women should wear the veil, wives should be obedient, everyone has a harem.
This is the viewpoint of the character or the author?
Yeah.
Like,
It's the viewpoint of the character. I don't know necessarily if it's the viewpoint of the author. And he starts young, so as a teenager. So his views are very much unsettling but clearly repeated.
Okay.
The kind of thing that his parents and his uncles and so women are largely absent from his life. Like his mother's not mentioned, but his father's mentioned regularly. And it's sort of like that. Like there's this concept of subservience, right? And
this is the way women are in this society.
Yeah. Either absent or silent, right?
Yeah.
Or there to have children.
Yeah.
Or there's even mention where he's like, "You're 18 now. You should go get your 12-year-old wife." Right? Like, go get a 12-year-old.
Matter of
like,
fact, yeah.
Yeah, matter of fact, And sure, a lot of that is cultural and old in that sense. It's 1927. But the reason I'm reading it is because I read The Orientalist, which is a non-fiction biography by Tom Race. I read Tom Race's The Black Count, which is about Alexander Dumas's father.
Okay.
And I love The Black Count. Great book. Fascinating, very interesting.
About the dad. Not even about him. About Dumas' dad.
Yeah. Who was black.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I've talked about this. But it's a great story. He served under Napoleon. He served under Napoleon's army.
Okay.
He was known as the Black Count, the Black Devil. He was a legend in Napoleon's army.
Okay.
And so he wrote that, and I really liked the book. I enjoyed reading it. It's very interesting. And I said, okay, I'm going to read his first book, which was The Orientalist, which was about someone he alleges to be Kurban Said.
Okay.
He hold on. Let me Orientalist. So he it's the search sort of for this character who was a he basically so Lev Nissenbaum was sort of, he was Azerbaijani, okay,
Okay.
and Tom Reese alleges that he is Kurban Said. There's
Okay.
not a lot that's known about Kurban Said. So he alleges he's Kurban Said, who is the most famous writer from Azerbaijan. He's like sort of this one-hit wonder, right? He wrote this epic Ali Nino, epic love story between a Muslim and a Christian, set in like the gateway of the East and the West, right? Azerbaijan is between Russia and Europe, right? So it's like fascinating book, fascinating story about Lev Nissenbaum. This guy Lev Nissenbaum was like Jewish but converted to Islam, and he hung out in Nazi Germany, you know, shook hands with Hitler kind of a thing, but it was like a weird, like, he was essentially Jewish.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, right.
Yeah.
Interesting story. Anyway, after I read that, I said, you know what, I should read Alien Nino. Because of that, right?
Yeah.
And it's a slog. It's 1927. It's a 1927 concept that's been translated, and it's a bit like, you know, you cringe a little bit at some of the things that and it's told in first-person perspective, so it's very difficult to like this character who's like, women should be subservient.
Yeah.
And, there's also this element of like, he's in love with Nino, who's Christian, and but he's somehow swayed into letting her keep her faith or something. Like, he's cool with it, you know. And it's difficult, yeah. So that's what I'm.
So parang it's problematic kasi where
It's
we are
problematic
now.
in a very, yeah, of where we are now, of like, you know, 70 odd, 80 odd years later.
Yeah, yeah. Some of
I'm sorry.
some of
not
the
even
things don't
80
fly anymore.
Yeah, not even 80, but like almost 100.
Yeah.
You know, in 1927, we're in 2021, man. Like,
yeah. Don't make me do the math. You know.
yeah, yeah.
You know that math.
We're well beyond. We're pretty far off from it. You know. I am compelled
to look it up.
to do the math. 94 years.
Christ.
94 years apart. You know, 94 years apart. And obviously it hasn't aged well. It hasn't aged well. But the most fascinating thing about it is the setting. That it is about this young man in Azerbaijan. And he talks about Azerbaijan. He talks about Armenia and Turkey. And, before the countries we know of as they are now, sort of.
Yeah.
This is even way before. This is basically World War One.
Yeah, yeah.
There's just a scene that I read where he says the Tsar of Russia has declared war on the war on Europe, and he says, what part of Europe? And he says Germany, Saxony, Württemberg, Prussia. You know, like, he's basically like listing the old world
All the
countries,
old names.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, all the old names of like Saxony, you know, Austria, Germany, France, like England, like he lists the whole. But there's all these little duchies and baronies in between, Luxembourg, Switzerland, you know, those places. Yeah, and it's a kind of a slog. It's not as compelling as I thought it would be.
Hirap
Mostly
talaga for
because
the old books talaga. I mean, mga classics and stuff. There's a lot of unpacking
Yeah.
you need to do. Because, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of baggage from the book and baggage from us as modern readers.
Yeah, yeah.
Tsaka just the translating, yun nga, during the socio-political climate is different. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
the nations and, you know. I can't remember
Yeah.
the last classic that I read, like, not for school.
Yeah, I
What,
can't either.
what would that be actually?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I like reaching back and like, oh,
Yeah.
what was the last? Uh, I mean, does Pride and Prejudice count?
uh, I guess.
I mean, I occasionally crack open a copy of Pride and Prejudice and read out of it because I think the dad's hilarious. You know,
I
the
have
dad, one of the most put upon characters of all of literary history. Like, you know, it's kind of like that thing where they say, oh, you know, he had all daughters. He had all daughters. He wasn't a rich man. He wasn't, you know, there was no money for a dowry. There was no, you know, essentially, his daughters finding their own way was the only way. Right? Marrying up was their only possible mobility in life because
yeah.
he was a nobody, and he had so many daughters. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and then he, you know, his favorite's Elizabeth, right? And they have this little like secret language, and yeah. Wow, way to make that book about a man. But yeah, you know what I mean. Like, my sister and I used to talk about his character, like, you know, the way he rolled his eyes, the way his wife's like, everyone has to go to the ball, and he's like, yeah, everyone has to go to the ball. You know, he was basically that guy.
I have never read, to be honest. I'm not very good with the classic English ones.
I don't know. Pride and Prejudice. I guess I'd recommend it because it's not that heavy, and it's just people. You sort of get a sense of like, man, this is what Jane Austen must have done in her time. Just
like
go to places.
Societal, yeah.
Yeah, like it's a very very simple existence of like just going to place, staying there.
You're out in the country.
Because travel takes so long, right?
Yeah.
Travel takes so long that there's that old. I remember reading. I forgot who wrote it, but he wrote this article about how travel now is. Travel will last so and so number of years. It's been so commercialized. It's all about where you've been and the pictures you've taken, the slideshows you've brought home. And he says, you know, before when you had to travel and it took like 6 months on a boat, and you got there and you had to stay there for like a year plus, and you had to live there and you had to learn the language and you had
waiting
to, like,
for the next boat to bring you back.
But yeah, waiting for the next boat. Like, he goes, that was traveling. Like, that was when a person said in the olden days that they traveled, they fucking traveled, right? Like, it was a very cynical article. I remember thinking like, yeah, but you know, we've obviously evolved technologically and culturally beyond that, right? There's nothing, I would say, terribly wrong with our version of travel. Maybe a little bit, and there is a certain commercial sense to it, but sort of like, what are you gonna do, right? Can you afford to live in another country, learn another language, get another job? Like, yeah, what are we, Norwegian? I don't know. You know, we don't have socialized healthcare and universal basic income, you know?
No charges.
No, man, no.
Remaining. Last
Yeah. Seriously, should I decode it or something? I feel like someone's sending me a message.
satisfying.
Well, good for them. Good for y'all.
More stormtroopers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. I've been resigned for like the last hour, man. Like, A little bit.
Target acquired.
It's more of an E than a tap.
Destroyed.
I mean, your voice is fine to me, man. It's okay, yeah. I mean, the buzzing, the blipping is still there, but
Destroyed.
I'm not. Again, I'm like, it's part of me now. It's part of me.
Target acquired.
Yeah. You gotta link me that.
Target destroyed.
You gotta link me that book, man. That sounds good. That sounds like some Aller for Sack
Target
stuff.
acquired.
Yung like a professional, professional high risk, technical job that's turned into poetry.
Destroyed. Target acquired.
Pros to pros. Yeah.
Eagle inbound, Commander. Keep an eye out above you.
Yeah.
Target destroyed.
Right. Dirty.
Target acquired. Target destroyed. Target acquired. Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Oh.
Target destroyed.
Uh, I- there's Old Republic, Empire, like modern, isn't there? Like whatever it is now. Isn't it? And yeah, I'm not really sure, but as far as I know, it was actually in terms of who was in power. So it's Old Republic. Yeah, it's Old Republic, Empire, First Order. Like that's the. Those are sort of, and then it's divided into like who the resistance was at that time. So it goes from, I guess, the Clone Wars to rebellion to
Target
resistance.
destroyed.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There's the raider base. Eliminate all enemies and raise it to the ground, Commander.
Copy that.
Yep. Yeah, man. Yeah. I was I always picked like the weird ass jobs, and my main this is the reason that I got protected in almost every game I played. I was aerotech. If you're aerotech, you pilot the dropship. So if you're dead, they're stranded. So they're always like, take us off, like, yeah. And what's great also is the dropship has great weapons. It's got like long range LRMs. It's got the LRMs. It's got the PPD's got the long range lasers, man. It's like a fully armed like fortress that, for some reason, you couldn't fly it once. You couldn't fly it around. You could land it, and then use it as a fortress. But apart from that, you were like, yeah, there was. Yeah. And I piloted like a light jumpy mech. You know those no man, like a battle suit. Yeah man, I was like frail as shit. Yeah, elemental, yeah. No, like the second grade. What's a grade above elemental? Elemental, and then there's like a slightly larger version of them. They look like Kodiak, but tiny. Yeah, like a bigger than an elemental, way smaller than a Kodiak. Yeah. Yeah. No, we weren't clad. Yeah, it was. Yeah, that battle suit that was. It was really like clunky, but it had great jump jets. Like it was very fast, and it like. Yeah, exactly. They carried me around basically, and they're like, "All right, I'm gonna ride this Mad Dog now." I was like, "All right, let's go." Yeah. A little machine gun, yeah. Actually, I remember anti rockets, like the minigun that like shoots rockets out of the. Yeah. Point of it. Yeah. Like that was basically also my job, right? Don't get blown out of the sky. Yeah. When I remember when I used to play Shadowrun. Did you ever play Shadowrun? The game? Video game. Those are good. Those are well written and easy, entertaining. But when I played Shadowrun, I also played like the character that wasn't really a fighter. He was the deal maker. So in Shadowrun, it's sort of like Corpo America, right? It's like everything's corporate, everything's yeah. William Gibson and a little bit of Ready Player One in there, right? So I played in every Shadowrun. Your employer is called Mr. Smith. Sorry, Mr. Johnson. Doesn't matter who he is, what he looks like, where he's from, what kind of accent he has. He is known as Mr. Johnson. Mr. Johnson hired us to do this. Right. But the broker of that is called your face, the team's face. He's the one who meets people. He's the face of the operation, basically. Like Mr. Johnson says, I want you to break into this lab and steal this experiment. He's not going to tell the team. He's going to tell the face. And the face, and more often than not, the face is an NPC. But I used to play the face in Shadowrun. I was like, yeah, I'll make those deals. And all my basically super high charisma, and yeah. I used to fleece my team sometimes, where I'd be like, all right, the cost is like 1 million new yuan, and he's like, all right, that's agreeable. And they go meet my team, and I'm like, all right, he's paying us 500,000 yuan. So you guys gotta split that. There are 5 of you. It's like 100 piece. Oh, also I need my cut of that. So I gotta get my cut of that. It was really hard negotiating that deal. It really was. Yeah, but I'm like 500,000 or like above that. But also. So in Shadowrun, you dictate the lifestyle of your character. If you live on the streets, your cost of living is like next to nothing, right? Yeah. So basically, the reason they do that is, let's say you have gear. Let's say you're a cyborg, right? You have a cybernetic arm, leg, eye. It needs maintenance. So that goes into your cost of living. You live in a shit apartment. You eat this much food, it sort of like accumulates, and that's how much. So that's basically the game telling you, you need to make this much money. You need to go full jobs. Yeah, to afford your lifestyle. So me, because I was a face, I was like drinking fine wines. I had a nice apartment. Like, you know, I had like, you know, prostitutes come over all the time to dance for me in my parties and, you know, rub elbows. Yeah, face things. I needed more money. My cost of living was like, you know, crazy. Like it was an insane amount. It was like even if I made half a million new yuan, I was like, all right, 2/3 of that's already gone. That's like my cost of living. Like I've saved maybe 50,000. Yeah, which I'm probably gonna spend on suits, like bulletproof suits. Yeah, but like that, and I was the only useful thing I had was I was a sniper. So I'm like, I'm not going with you to the job, but I'll be out here and I'm just gonna like, yeah, a mile, like, yeah, like 3 kilometers away with a you know modified Barrett, whatever, like, yeah, like calculating the Coriolis effect and the curvature of the Earth, you know, that was my, yeah, yeah. If I fire it now, 3 hours later, that guy's dead. Yeah, if he stays really, yeah. That was, yeah. Yeah. You need the job, man. You need the job. Yeah. Yeah. It's a great, yeah. I remember one reviewer, one of my favorite reviewers actually mentioned about Papers, Please. He goes, you know, I love the setup they've made where, you know, this is your job and they ask you to choose between yourself and other people. But he goes, but who is checking the papers after you and finding these, like who's double checking? Like there's another person, right, who's doing your job who's saying, that guy fucked up. Yeah, that guy fucked up. Dock his pay. You know, and I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? When can I play as that guy? Yeah, who's the snitch, right? It's a very good point of like, oh, they make you choose, and then there's someone else out there who's like, nah, man, nah. You crossed the line. Like, been holding them off as best I can, but yeah, I don't think with a parrot, yeah. That girl, she's suspicious.
We've got your back.
She's suspicious.
I appreciate that. Seriously. Can't tell you how good it is to see some friendly faces.
Yeah!
We still need to protect this site.
Copy that.
Yeah.
Soon enough. Like I said, they attacked the Yves, and they haven't shown any signs of life.
Yeah. You're like, oh man. Oh yeah.
Yeah. When they started digging.
Yeah.
There's a turret generator close
It's
by.
also the same with FTL, man.
It's still off at the moment.
FTL were like, you've received a distress beacon. Do you want to save these people? And I'm like, I guess. And they've cornered your ship. They're pirates. And you're like, son of vent the airlocks. Like,
Looks like
fucking,
airborne and enemy
yeah.
commander.
And the robots vent the airlocks. Like, I don't have, my crew's not equipped to take these people on. Like, yeah. Yeah, they're just like, and they, you know how sometimes you choose something and you automatically lose someone? Like, so-and-so died, and you're like, motherfucker, that guy was my pilot, right? Like, what was he doing there? He should never leave the bridge. Like, yeah, I'm like, what the hell, man? But that's a great game, man. That's a great FTL also. Like,
New target acquired.
yeah.
Destroyed.
Yeah. There's a guy. Did you play the update a few years back? They added a new race. So this race is cool, man. They suck the air out of a room, right? So when they're in, like, let's say they're in engineering, right? They suck the air out of the room until it's red, but they don't need to breathe. They don't need to breathe, so they're safe. But like, if you get boarders in there, and you're like, haha, that room's already like fucking empty of air, right? And he's there, and he's like, I don't know what I guess. Okay, people are just dying in the room. There's no air in here. That's like, yeah, that's how it happens to me. Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, man, like you cannot stay in the med bay. Go somewhere else. I need air in that room. Yeah. But that was like an interesting race. So like,
Second turret generator.
Okay, I'm on it.
yeah, to get.
Multiple hostiles converging on your location, Commander. I'm picking up 10, 12 bogies this time.
Yeah.
I told
Yeah.
you these guys never quit.
Space is hard. Yeah. Even like the kinds of ships they give you and stuff, and the. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Are now online and
Yeah.
active, Commander.
It is good. It is good. That's that game. It's giant robots. It's like
Target acquired.
yeah. So it's like Pacific Rim, but like on scale. There's like a bunch of you're a bunch of giant robots. Well, here's what's cool. When you fail,
Target acquired.
right,
Target
you have the option to time travel someone back. So imagine in FTL, you had to start the game over from the beginning with a new ship, but one of your crew members, 7 of 9 back. Like, you know that episode of 7 where 7 of 9 keeps going back in time to stop the Voyager from blowing up? Yeah. And she's got like, and she starts to suffer like temporal aphasia, right? Which is like a side effect. It's like that. You can time travel one person back to the beginning. So he's still got all his experience, right? He's good at piloting the mech and stuff. When you fail, you boot him back. Boop. So like that. Like, it's kind of fun. Like, it's difficult like FTL, but the prize they give you is like you get to keep one of your crew members from FTL. Yeah. If like you send them back in time because they're like, oh, the world is doomed. We have to time travel back. Do it again. Like, start from the beginning. Go ahead. Yeah.
destroyed.
Yeah, man, it's good.
Destroyed.
Yeah. I'm so out of context because I played. So first of all, I played 2. I finished 2. I played 2. I finished 2, and I was like really. I did all this stuff in 2 because I thought there would be carryover. Had armor, saved money, stored up junk and stuff. Put shit in the bank, and then I start Witcher 3, and they're like, you get 10%. Of the money you saved, you get nothing else. Everything else you saved, the best sword that you had, the armor, whatever, man, the whole 9 yards that I saved up for. They're just like, nah. No, that's all gone. Yeah. Even Mass Effect is like, but Mass Effect, to be fair, starts in different years. Like, there's time passage. Like, there's an element of. Yeah, I mean, like from 1 to 2 alone, you die. Like you're. It happened in between, man. Like, you losing your shit from the previous game is okay, right? Maybe not your skills, but yeah. So all that stuff, even the skills and stuff. And 2 is very, in a lot of ways, pretty linear. There's there's not a lot you can do. It's more like, I was gonna say more like Mass Effect in that sense, where you go to a location, you can't leave that location once you're there. Not like in Witcher 3 where you're like, I don't want to do this quest, I'm gonna go do another quest. I'm just gonna walk off in this direction until, you know, until I find something better. Yeah, but I'm already on the last.
Approaching, Commander. Looks like they're bringing in the heavy
I don't know what the last main quest is, but you know how in the beginning they say you can go to 3 places? Velen, Novigrad, and Skellig, right? I'm already in Skellig. So I went to Velen. Yeah. No, the Vikings. They're Vikings.
Son of a
They're meant to be Vikings, I assume.
Two medium mechs.
Druids, it's Druidism, Vikings. That's.
The harder they fall. Let's go get them.
I mean, they're also a warrior race. Yeah, they're Vikings. I don't know. yeah. I'm at Skellige, and they've already chosen a new king or a new jarl, whatever. Queen. I got the girl. Yeah, I don't know. It's fun. But
Incoming missile.
yeah, it's just one of those things where I know it's gonna drive me insane because I'm one of those completionists. There's so many things to complete. Did I ever tell you that I played Skyrim, the first Skyrim when it came out, and I finished it 100%? Like, I drove that game into the ground. This was way before they came up with all the expansions of like, now you're a vampire, now you're a werewolf, now you're like, oh, you can build a house and get married and have children, and like, what the fuck? Yeah, man, it's on the market all day, and I'm like, what is this, The Sims? You know, with drag. Yeah. But you're carrying a sword and stuff. And I did that thing where, have you played Skyrim? Okay. Skyrim has magic trees. So, defense magic, attack magic, healing magic, illusion magic, all that stuff. The more you use it, the better you get at it. Okay? And the better the spells become. But you have to find the spell. So, your skill, even let's say you just use the basic healing spell all the time, you'll get better at it. Your skill in healing will get better. I 100% did all of them. All the schools of magic, like that. I was like, I went fucking. Yeah, I couldn't not do it. You give me a task like that, I will do it.
New target acquired.
Yeah. So that's how I feel about Witcher 3. Like, I'm looking at it now and I'm like, my god. I'm already in Skellige, but I'm so far ahead. I'm like one-shotting things on a quest. They're like, oh, it's a boss. I hit it 3 times and it's dead. I'm like, what the fuck? It's like a boss, right? Like, it's supposed to be hard. Then I'm looking at this.
New target
It-
acquired.
Yeah. So I'm like, it's saying like, this is a level 19. I'm level 24. You know? So I'm like 3-shotting bosses, and I'm like, during a regular quest, I'm just like hacking through them. And, yeah. Oh, I'm also 100% in those. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna get all the potions, all the decongoctions, all the, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. It's like,
New target acquired. Target acquired.
yeah. I have only like episode 1 into that. Like, I was worried. That was my thing. I was worried that I would get spoiled if I watched it. I didn't want to like have an inkling for stuff in Witcher 3. But you're telling me it's like from well before Witcher 1, so I'm like, okay, I probably won't. Yeah. But the end is. Ah, okay. Ah, okay. Is yeah. In the implication is that she was essentially raised by Geralt. At the School of the Wolf. The School of the Wolf raised her. Yeah, yeah. Well, Lambert and the School of the Wolf is like 4, right? There are 4 of them. Yeah, so it's Geralt, the old guy. Could you give me a second? My dog's knocking on the door. Hold up. I'm starting to think it's me. I'm starting to think it's me. No, it's still there. But I meant, like, if you're saying you've had guests aside from me who haven't had these problems, I'm thinking it's me. Right.
That's the last of them, Commander. Hell of a job. Spears will be impressed, as he should be. A new Merc outfit is already on its way to secure the site. Hang tight for now. I'm coming to pick you up.
I know we're all compelled to, like, make it not weird, but
Just wanted to say
I don't know, look at the cast, I'm okay with it.
Before you showed up.
Sandman's one of those things where you're like,
friends today. Good pilots.
the story was more important than the
I don't think I could
conflict,
have held out much longer myself.
but
You
in
hadn't dropped
television that's
it. I
very
appreciate
different.
it.
The
I'm glad we
conflict
were
has
able
to
to
take
help.
precedent,
Just
right?
wish
Like the
we'd gotten
stakes,
here
essentially.
sooner.
But a lot of the Sandman, I remember,
You
the
know,
stakes
we could
weren't
always use another
as
pilot. One with your
important
skills,
as the
he'd
story.
come in awful handy.
A nightmare's
think?
loose in killing people,
After
but the
today,
story of the
hell,
people
it'd be an honor to serve
and
with
the
you,
interaction of Morpheus
Then
with them
consider it
is
done.
more important.
Welcome aboard.
It's more, I'm sorry, not more important, more entertaining. Or equally entertaining. Like, the stakes didn't seem as pressing. Again, also because the character is immortal, right? Essentially the end. Yeah. He decides he doesn't want to play the game anymore. Yeah. I'm not gonna die anymore. And that's like, alright, because that's right there when he says it, like, death is a sucker's game. I ain't gonna play it no more. And she's like, alright.
Target
Yeah.
acquired.
Focus target received.
Immortality. Congratulations. But like that, like, you know. Did you see, speaking of, obviously because Morpheus and Orpheus, right? Did you see Portrait of a Lady on Fire? Oh man, it's good. It's a good movie, man. That's, I don't know, she's French? I don't know. It's a French movie. It's, yeah. Yeah, that one. Paint her, yeah, paint the other. Yeah, and the stakes and it's just simple, like, slight. They keep moving the bar. That's what's weird about the, you know.
New target acquired.
Commander's target received.
Yeah. And the parallelisms of like the Orpheus, right? That's sort of the myth that they play on of like,
Add one more
I love her and
kill count.
she keeps looking back. She keeps looking back, and that is why she cannot have her. that weird kind of like moments where she keeps seeing her appear in the background, and you're like, what the fuck is that, right? And you realize, no, the underlying story is the Orpheus story, right? The woman that,
Requested location.
yeah. Yeah,
Located and scan
yeah.
hostiles.
And then that's the question, right? Is that the love, or is that like
Heading along a
selfishness,
trajectory
or
that
is that,
intersects with your position.
you know? And it's this question of, yeah. And I'm usually very against like, yeah, or like the gay story that has no happy end. I'm not really.
Target
I,
acquired.
we've had enough of that, right? Like, black people can only have slavery stories. Gay people can't have nice things, right?
Reach survey point. Awaiting orders.
Yeah, those are the stories we tell, and I'm really not. You know, you get tired of it.
Holding it.
Which was like things like Crazy Rich Asians was so refreshing, right? Like, no man, that's Crazy Rich Asians, right? Like that's why everyone was like, this is such a refreshing series take, because it's sort of the complexities of marrying into a rich family who are like both
The area is
wealthy
subject to
and
order.
important. Like there's sort of this.
Opportunity to cause any
Yeah, I mean, you know, eat the rich, whatever. But you know what I mean? Like it's one of those things where you're like, you're happy to see it.
Target acquired.
coordinated attack targets received.
Uh-huh. I feel like I should know this. Maybe people like message me and ask a question, and I'll be like, yeah, freaky. Yeah, man. Ask me some questions. Hey, you wanna boo me? Yeah. Your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. You know where that's from? No, Rick and Morty.
Target destroyed.
I'm showing you
Yeah, where they're like,
Commander.
he goes to the heist festival, the heist con, and they're like, "Boo!" Yeah, the thieves, and the heisters, and then he's like, your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer. Like, man, fuck the guy who wrote that line, man. Like, damn right. It's like, why would you care about these people when like they like this kind of thing, right? Like, yeah, these political. It was the same thing, right? You're like those political people who are like support certain politicians, and you're just like, why would their booze matter to you when they're clearly like in a cult? They're in a death cult. Yeah. Yeah, we should do like a Rick and Morty. Like I've got. Yeah, Rick and Morty. I want to do Rick and Morty. I want to do Archer. I want to do. Archer gets weaker and weaker with every season. um, yeah, man, that's really like. I mean, there's still a little bit of hope. I feel like Netflix could pick them up, or Amazon. Or... Oh yeah. Oh. Yeah. Cartoons. That weirdo. Yeah, whatever, man. But there's Apple. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Ugh, I can't believe I have to be okay with that for him. Like, the Expanse is... Yeah. Rooting for the villain, man. Rooting for the villain. Also, I gotta say, I love Christian Avastarala, right? I've never stopped talking about her. But man, she is terrifying in the first season. In the first season, she is, like, frightening. Oh, also, can I just mention, sorry, about Expanse. Maybe we should let people go and then we can continue. But they renamed the Razorback. Did you see that? I love that detail. The Screaming Firehawk. Yeah, and that's sort of like the inside joke of the whole Expanse, right? Right. Where their fans are called the Screaming Firehawks. Oh, you okay? But you don't know the story? Okay, so the story is the brown coats. Yeah, yeah. Everyone's like, every fan has a name for their fans, right? Every fan base has a name. Yeah, Trekkies and I don't know what's Star Wars. um, the 501st. I don't know. But the Expanse, their fan base is called the Screaming Firehawks, and it's a reference to when they first salvaged the Rocinante, and they're choosing to name it, and they ask, "What should we name it?" And Alex is like, Screaming Firehawk, and everyone's like, "No, that's a fucking terrible fucking name." And then the fans are like, "We're the Screaming Firehawks," and I'm like, nice. They like took it in, and then the Razorback, like he named the Razorback the Screaming Firehawk. Yeah, he names the Razorback, and you're just like, yeah, man, nice. Like little. Yeah. Legitimate salvage. Yeah. Just enough. Yeah, we're not, yeah. Oh man, yeah. Shit, sorry. Naomi in a party. Yeah. Yeah. That is the equivalent of in in series where you make a fuzz and then you walk into an elevator and there's no elevator carriage in there and you fall. That's the equivalent of it. Stroking out in the Expanse. You stroke out. Yeah. And the first app, actually, in the beginning of that app, I remember hearing it, and again, Chekhov's gun, right? This is the second time you've mentioned stroking out, like, and Bobby's the one who says it. He's like, if we keep going this year, we're gonna stroke out, right? And he's like, no, I can do this, right? I can do this, like, and I'm the pilot. I'm like, damn. Yeah, cons.
This is the kind of cold
Yeah. It's pretty damning in terms of volume is the problem. It's not just like, it's not, with the, yeah, I made a mistake with this one person. It's sort of like a lot of people came forward and it's very damning. And I'm not saying that it needs to be that many, but it was that many, it wasn't, no knocking that fact. that so many people came forward, and it's kind of just like
Target destroyed.
done, right? You're done. You kind of just like the series just kind of said the producers were just like, all right, we can't. Yeah, we're gonna.
Enemy forces moving in, Commander. Get ready for them.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Acquired.
Yeah, and even that thing of like, even that thing of like, where he's like, "Hey, Bobby, meet me in this bar," and then she's like, "This fucking sucks, right?"
Acquired.
And then, yeah,
Target destroyed. Target
yeah.
Kicked over the
And
beehive
then
there,
there's
Commander.
also that moment where they're like,
Inbound.
we're gonna head to this space station, and he goes, "There's a bar there that's like the bar thing." And she's like, I don't get what you see in that place, man. Like, yeah,
Target acquired.
yeah,
Target destroyed.
yeah, and yeah.
Target received. Engaging.
Yeah.
Target destroyed.
Yeah. We're sorry. We're so sorry. Thank you for joining us.
Additional hostiles have been dispatched. They're heading your way.
Target acquired.
Yeah. Yeah. Wear a mask. Wash your hands.
Target destroyed. Target acquired.
Stay home. Stay home. My God.